Hey everyone, it's Tafony here once again. First of all, sorry for the lack of videos the last couple days. I was on a really good streak there, and I'm going to try and get as many videos out in the time while we find a new space, but yeah, that's why they haven't been daily the last couple days, so I promise it will return to that eventually, but it has not been right now. So I have been trying to clear out a couple modules and go down a case in preparation for that. And one of those modules is the Boredbrain eqx5. So quick disclaimer first, I have no affiliation with Boredbrain. This series isn't sponsored or anything like that. I bought this used off a local seller. Without further ado, it sounds like this. Okay, this one hopefully going to be a quick one, but I want to show a couple things on this one because I actually really like this idea. First, we're going to patch the output of my mixer into this. Input of a mixer in the big case going in, and then output is going into my effects chain. And you know what, I'm not going to do the effects chain today, we're just going to put it into the crossfader between my voice and this output. So, okay, right off of the bat, one thing I want to show before we even demo anything else is that this one has a stereo in, stereo out, but there's also a secondary mono output, which is really cool because you could use some effects ends or just a way to do a dry wet mix possibly, or duplicate your signal in mono. And yeah, you know, modular, you can do anything with a multitude of modules and setups in different configurations, and in this configuration I'm going to use that mono output to run into the Mordax data just so you can see some wave shaping. Yeah, so yeah, 10 HP, the eqx5 5-band equalizer for Eurorack. There's CV controls, which is a really unique thing. I mean, outside from the format and everything, because there isn't a lot of like EQ modules that I saw, or at least it seems like, I don't know, a lot of people. And then I was reading online when I got this about it, and people were kind of like, why do you want that in the rack? And I'm like, why wouldn't you want it in the rack, right? Isn't your rack your whole studio? Or anyway, that's how I think about it. Everything's valid in your rack, or at least I tell myself that. But yeah, eqx5, 5 bands. CV control over each of those bands. And then there's also a balance, which I believe is the left-right pan. These are center dented, all of the knobs, which is very appreciated because it's easy to get back to unity. Even the level is, which is kind of funny. But yeah. Let's try and see if that balance is left-right. There's also a CV control over that balance. There's CV control over that level as well. If you wanted this to be a really, really fancy VCA, that's also like a valid use for it. I think it's cool. In my case, the reason I'm selling it is just because I have Bufaco stereo strips, and I need the space and I need the money. So yeah, CQ is sold, but it's a great module. Let's do up a sequence, send it to this. I'm going to go break it down by instrument so you can hear how those frequency ranges affect stuff, and then we'll do some CV mangling and we'll go from there. So one moment. Okay, so let's go through this one. Just synths first, just because I think that'll be the most prevalent to hear. So let's bring it in. And just grab a good level where you can still hear me. First band, 10 kilohertz. Let's bring it up. It's definitely trebly. Let's cut it. Second band, high mid, 4 kilohertz. Mid. Cut it. Mid, 1 kilohertz. Kilohertz. Low mid, 400 kilohertz. 400 kilohertz. Low 100 kilohertz. Level. Your VCA. Balance, go right. And then we can go left all the way. That's actually really cool. So, yeah, CV control over everything. Now I'm not clocking PAMs, so we're just gonna see how this goes. Now we're just gonna try and hit play in sync, but it might not be correctly on time. So yeah, I think that's a clock. Let's put it to an LFO. So yeah, that's sending an LFO. We'll just bounce around. That's cool. Now that's really fast. I think it'd be cool to have something slowly moving. I know this melody I'm playing isn't exactly what you're expecting in that regard, but here. We'll go laps is os, and if I do bipolar, go left, center, right. So if you were using a different CV source that could go, that's a cool way to modulate it. That's a very cool, powerful piece, I think. And then if we're doing level, you can boost it over CV. So maybe you have some side chaining options with this one too, right? Or VCA, so. I realize this melody is a little too crazy for me to manually be doing a VCA, but consider that it can be used that way. Very cool. Yeah, let's get back to our LFO for that VCA just to show it. Yeah. I don't know, let's just see LFO over the mids. Cool. Consider how you would use that, I'd say. Right? Not trying to be like the Yorak Bob Ross or whatever, but like, obviously, this isn't a very useful context necessarily, but think about what you would do. Open your mind, man. Like, there's unique timbres to be had over modulation for sure. Okay, so let's Bring in some drums now. Give me a moment, I'll patch that in. Okay, drums now. So, bring that up to a good level for y'all to hear. Here's the highs on drums. It's actually pleasant. I like my drums, I just like to scoop the mids and bring up the high and low end, but yeah, there's highs. Let's scoop them. Actually, that sounds nice too. Mids. Crank them up. Don't really love how that sounds, but that's the whole point of a 5-band EQ, is to dial them in precisely, which I'm not doing right now. So mids, crank them. To mid. Cut them. See, that's the cutting of the mids that I like, is right there. This is a cool effect too, I'd say. That's, yeah. Low mids, bring them up. There's performative stuff too in here for sure, because like, hear how this almost feels like filtering, right? I mean, it is its own type of filtering, but like, that's, the drum sounds can change significantly just by tweaking it, like, yeah. And especially, you gotta crank the lows. I love how that sounds. I love how that sounds. More is more. Let's cut them now. See, performative stuff. Take the kick out using this module. Then we're going to bring it in for the drop. Yeah, so good. Okay. Bring it back to normal, and then balance. So, right. Left. Middle. VCA. So the center detent, indent, I think it's called detent, right? It's really appreciated, but it also makes performing a little tricky, you know? So maybe make sure you're performing in one direction. Don't do a big sweep past middle with volume. Normal should be in the middle. Don't blast it. Okay, let's do some LFOing now. VCA. If I set this to envelope, will it be... Oh, you know what? I'm quantizing? Does that make a difference? Oops. Make it a little... Make it a little wonky if we set the shape to envelope. Audio, right? Yeah, VCA stuff. Okay. That's funny. Isolating our kicks by donk, donk. That's funny. Okay. Give it a bigger envelope. Yeah, this isn't, the timing also isn't in sync here, so that is also an issue, but let's bring it back to LFO. If we give it some baseline level, maybe a better example, oops, I still need to stay in here, a better example would be to bring our level down a little bit. We're just modulating it a little bit. Just a little bit of room. And obviously send sidechain, boost your kicks this way. Totally, probably the most obvious use of this for sure. So yeah, that is over level. Let's do a little panning LFO. And while we're here, I just want to show, for the fun of it, let's change the waveform to random for fun. Just, these are the joys of modular. Rambling about, like, that's that randomness, that chaos, that control over every random thing. That's it. Yeah, very nice. Let's get this back to alpha. Yeah, take that out. Very nice. We'll boost the lows, and then alpha the highs. Yeah. Try random here. Funny application, modular, right? It makes the drums feel more random, right? More movement, more varied. Crank them up. Mid. And CV over balance. Positive for right, negative for left. Probably normally use this guy, which is just as a straight up EQ, so let's try and dial some stuff in. I think, like, generally, and this is probably a total misconception, I really like just scooping mids always sounds good across like most everything, unless you want to give one piece of the puzzle a mid boost to make it stand out. But I think end of chain, I want to be boosting the highs, scooping the mids, boosting the lows. Yeah, maybe not so much scoop. Yeah, very cool. I mean, that's the eqx5. I saw a forum post basically saying people want everything in your rack. They want all of your studio gear within the rack. They want their dishwasher in the Euro rack. They want their microwave within the Euro rack. And you know what? To that, I say, yes, I do. I'm Tafony. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.